cakes are the kind of site that girls would choose, but I do think it's quite overpriced, and I don't even think the cake's that good. I describe it as Emperor's New Clothes because it's like, oh, girls, and it's not even that lovely.
The shops are all mamby-pamby.
I do like Gail's, but yeah, as you say, I don't want it to be the start of like a chain reaction of then turning into Costa's or Nero's.
Gail's is quite nice. Ideally, it would be an independent place, but I think it's better than having nothing.
Or pushing out people, those small businesses that we need to kind of support, because the world is just becoming big fat chains like everywhere. Gail's is great. It's good food, good coffee. Let's go there. Wait, so you... it doesn't matter. Hide it.
Gail's, although respected for their quality, bring a risk of overshadowing our much-loved local stores due to their massive scale and advertising reach. This could lead to decreased visibility and pedestrian traffic towards independently run businesses, threatening their very existence and dismantling the character and diversity crucial to Walthamstow's charm.
Welcome to Walthamstow. We're here on Orford Road, a leafy, quiet street full of independent shops, cafes and businesses. Apart from this one, Gail's, which moved in just a couple of weeks ago. But earlier in July, a local resident set up a petition to block Gail's from coming onto this high street. We're here to find out why. Do people care? Do they like the Gail's now that it's arrived? Are they just happy for a few cinnamon buns on their doorstep?
I saw when people didn't want it. They were like, oh no, we wanted it to be more independent run, which is a lot of the other shops here. But then we also have like the Nisa and the Spa, and like the pubs are run by like a chain pub. It's not an independent owned pub. I think people are getting a bit upset about it, and some people are like, more people have come into the area where they're like, it's become gentrified, it is what it is. But those people that have come into the area were some of the people that were being upset about it opening, and that's when I thought that everyone was being a bit hypocritical. I was like, no, because you've also come into the area, now you're having to go at something else coming in. I was like, shut up.
There's a bit of a trend of people quite like a controversy to jump on at times. I think also there's a legitimately independent feel around this area, which is mostly a really good thing, and so I guess like a chain can be considered threatening to that. Ultimately, in my opinion, is that everyone has a choice, right? Funny enough, we're about to go to the local coffee shop instead of going there. That's our choice. Doesn't bother me either way. If people want to use that, that's absolutely fine as well.
I think it's just because the village does. It's kind of quite a snooty little area, but it's so tiny. I mean, it's really just these few roads. I came up here once at Christmas time, and they were literally selling waffles. They had a kind of street thing. I think it might have been. I can't remember. I think it was a Christmas fair, and they were literally selling waffles with a bit of syrup on for like 10 quid.
Yeah, it's pretentious, unnecessary.
So we were actually just going in the hub for our drama club. We were like, people are paying 10 quid for a waffle. Are they mental?
Iced coffee, an iced latte, I think is £4 if you have it in. Which is a lot. It's just ice, coffee and a bit of milk. That could be like £2, I think.
If it wasn't Gail's, it would have been something else that was like just as overpriced coffee shop in the area. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
We have passed Gail's and it's very busy, so people are voting with their feet now when it has opened. So that's the other side of the story, I suppose.
Obviously, the people have changed, but the people that then come in, you build like a community with them. There are certain people I grew up with that obviously don't live here anymore. They've all moved out, because that happened when they built the new build flats down in just off Wood Street, because they took down the council houses, then they built up the new builds, and different people moved in. But that's just, that happens everywhere. Everything's going to happen. But no, I don't think the heart and soul. I think it just changed over to what it is now. It just like everyone just grows with the area.
Yeah, I would be sad by too many more chains coming, especially as a independent coffee lover. I would like more independent coffee places or independent places and food places to come.
Because they went to all this trouble to make this pedestrian and to make it kind of quaint and cute, and then to make it, be mainstream would kind of be contrary. But it's hard for the independent ones to and to compete with them.
So it comes down to community, I think. Like, people, I think mostly people like to feel attached to something, a sense of belonging, sort of an emotional connection to where they live, who they live near, and a brand, whether it's Gail's or a much bigger one, I guess sort of doesn't necessarily always represent that. I think people like a sense of belonging, and I think that, you know, look around sort of some of the other places here, a couple of independent places have just closed, which I think is particularly sad, not linking the two things obviously, but I think I personally agree with it and understand that people might think that they would favour that over something bigger.
It's already happened. Before Gail's had come, it was already going to be gentrified, and people say the first step of gentrification is actually when the cost of coffees turn up. That would come, but then but there's like a different like type of people that go to Gail's, and there's different type of people that go to Costa, and it's just this now street has become like a very gentrified posh street. And yeah, if it was a Costa, people would have been upset that it wasn't. It was something like Costa and it's something not nicer. You can't win. But I don't think it's made a difference. I think it has made it quite nice. It's always busy. It was always going to happen. Like you said, if there wasn't that coffee shop, someone else would have been in there before.
Yeah, I mean, there was froth and rhyme, or froth and grime, I used to call it, and they've all pretentious names. I know this is a very, very multicultural area, but at the moment it's not following that multicultural vibe.
I think one of the things that is really, one of the reasons this area is really popular is that it isn't exactly the same as lots of other areas. And understandably, people probably want to retain that, right? And so see something outside of that as being a threat.
So is it more expensive than the other cafes on the street here?
Everything in this street's really expensive, so not really, no.
So why is it different then? Why is Gail's different? Obviously it's a chain, but what is it about? What does it represent that is different from what's already here?
I think people that like to hang around in Walthamstow Village like to think that it's very exclusive, and Gail's kind of symbolises just an old chain, and then you have a Gail's everywhere, so they don't want to go somewhere where there's going to be the same shops that all the common people are drinking their coffee in, do they?
She was in it yesterday, and she went in to get a nice
something sweet.
nice sweet.
And how was it?
Looked good.
Well, actually, we were passing here and things were closed on a Sunday, so we found that was open. So that was probably the positive. We were early in the morning, you see, so that'll
bring people in.
That's positive part
It
of
seems
it.
to fit in okay, you know. I mean,
it looks the part.
It's not like, dare I say, a McDonald's or something like that.
They've got lots of baked, you know, it feels a bit more wholesome baked on the day. Like what they actually give you seems to be quite homemade, and I don't know, it does have a bit more of like an elevated vibe than some of the other places. It doesn't feel as mass produced.
You know, I don't have anything against a business setting up here. It's fine. We've been in. It's all right. It's not as good as some of the other places, but it's fine.
Look at what's the other place? It's called the Place, and that's right next to Gail's. I mean, what a pretentious shop.
I'm all for independent businesses as well, but like as a business, we like Gail's. We haven't been there yet, but we'd like to at some point. We're just about to pop in and see what kind of food they have. So yeah, we're happy.
And why do you think then that it inspired this? I'm sure you know, like the petition to block it got loads of media coverage and stuff. Why do you think it inspired such passionate opposition?
I guess people are really proud around here, which is really nice. We're not from here, but people are really proud of Walthamstow. They're really proud of the village, and there's a really nice collection of businesses here. So I totally get why they love the independent business angle. It's really important these days, but it can't always work, you know. And sometimes we need like an anchor store or like an anchor cafe like Gail's, which is sort of flourishing in lots of ways to really pull other stuff in. So yeah, I guess people are just passionate about it. But in the end, I think it's a positive thing.
I think also if you look in there, it's so busy we can't go in, so we might go to Gail's. So it's not like it's taking stuff away.
Not killing stuff elsewhere. So.
I don't think you want to talk to me about sort of big societal political trends, but obviously sort of the rise of populism, etc., sort of means that people quite like a sort of bandwagon to hitch themselves to. People are quite disgruntled generally, and so something like this is perhaps a bit of a lightning rod to use. On the flip side though, in tying it to this area, if you look at the sort of counter protest that happened sort of around the same time, ultimately I can see that as a force for good, and using that sort of passion or emotion in a positive way is a good thing.
So this is just one little tiny microcosm of Walthamstow where a few people want to hang out. I mean, us included, but, you know, we'll go home to our ordinary homes after lunch.
Speak for yourself.
Well, apart from Sam, of course. Sam's a luxury.